Hi friends, we are at the end. This is the final book report. What was I calling this thing? I don't know. A journal entry. This is a final journal entry for Vagabonds by Eloghosa Osunde. Thoroughly impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed. I really enjoyed this book. Um, it wasn't a lot happening, of course, as I said throughout the other ones. I didn't know what was going on. And even at the end, when I started to read the the beginning of the last section, I still was a tad confused, because I didn't really understand the overarching plot. Like in literary stories, um, there isn't a lot of plot, period, and that follows true here. But I didn't quite understand how the story was even moving forward. Um, and I think at the end that kind of gets revealed a little bit better. And I think I finally realized, well, like I think I knew subconsciously that they were all living in the same realm, the same like spiritual realm, but that was like never explicit to me. Um, and too, it seems like it honestly, the story kind of weaves through two different realms. So anyway, it was complicated to follow. Not complicated. I don't want to call it complicated because complicated doesn't feel like the right word, but it was like it didn't all feel connected like at all. In in general, I feel like that is something that could really turn you off by a book, but because each section, I think I said before they felt like short stories. Because it because the sections, the paragraphs, or whatever felt like short stories. There was never any point in the book after I read a section that I was like, dang, what's gonna happen to them next? Like I almost felt like, okay, that's the end of that character. Who's next? Um, and so it was like a fun surprise to get a number of the characters to show up in the final scene, and just the way that the these characters were able to sort of get justice in one way or another, and just kind of really challenging the ideas around revenge and integrity and um, what it looks like to be free and loved out loud. I think all of those things were covered in this book, and it was just so well done. Like I am so deeply like I'm moved. I think I ultimately ended up giving it 4.5 stars only because I'm still slightly confused. I think if I sit with it a little longer, I'll probably be able to figure it out. Or if I reread it, maybe some of the things will hit a little more clarity will come through. Um, but it just hasn't kind of it ain't hit me yet. But I love all the things that I've taken from it thus far. Um, and I feel like that's a win. If you can really read a book that you're kind of confused about and you still feel good about it, I mean, really, you could low key give 5 stars to that because you did something. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with 4.5 for now. I had a lot of highlights in this book. I don't know what this page is, but random highlights. Um, and the book ends on this quote. It says, if everybody dies to live, it read in the coming light, it is us. It is us after all this dying we have done. And honestly, I feel like that encapsulates the book really well. Um, and just again, some of the themes that were weaved through the story, just very well written, very beautiful. I will say, if you are not Nigerian, um, it might be easier for you to read the or listen to the audiobook because the I don't even know if I want to call it dialect, but the way Nigerians speak is written into this book. And if you're not familiar with how Nigerians talk, you can miss some of the dialogue. So definitely one thing to consider if you're going to read this book. Yeah, if you love literary, this is a fun one to read. If you like queer stories, this is a fun one to read. If you like want to think about things from a spiritual aspect, this is a fun one to read. The realism, the religious like undertones in here too. It also like speaks to some like real world things that like some real world things happen. So for example, one of the it talks about when Nigeria made being gay illegal. And so yeah, just her ability to weave in the real world and this like fictional, not really even fictional, to make the real world feel like there are two realms. Like um this, I don't know, this feels like legitimately things that could have happened. So um I'm saying a lot just to say that you should read this one. I really hope to read her next book. I think I said in the last video, I found out she was coming out with a new story called Necessary Fiction. I hope I'm not mixing those authors up. But I gotta find a way. I really want an arc of it. I might just pre-order the book. We'll see which one of those happens. But yeah, read Vagabonds, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.